Welcome to Pound for Pound ATL, arguably the best place to get facts and opinions on your Atlanta Falcons. And absolutely the best place to get your opinions in. The conversation starts now.
What's going on, football fans? It's me, J.R. Clark, back again with my main man, Toby D, hitting this Pound for Pound ATL live. Draft is done. Class is in session. Man, we wait so long, and then it seems like it goes by so fast. And
oh my goodness, yeah.
But with that being said, I mean, we streamed for like close to 10 hours these past 2 days.
Yeah.
We obviously ain't going to be on here that long tonight. But we would be remiss if we didn't come back on to like recap this whole deal, talk about where we stand, talk about where we think the team stands as of now. And, you know, just like this is year 2. And I think like realistically, this is I consider this to be the first like real draft of the Fontenot Smith era. Yes, like last year, I think they just went with what they had as far as like information wise. But this year, like, you know, you've had time to really figure out what these coaches are looking for, really figure out how you really want to build this thing. And I think they took a massive step in this draft in building that culture. Toby, what do you think, buddy? Toby.
Man, I mean, the first thing is, y'all, look at it. I got my Georgia shirt on. One of my bold predictions came true. The Falcons did draft 2 Georgia Bulldogs with the last 2 picks. Yep. But other than that, man, shout out to Kyle Smith. I think Kyle Smith was very instrumental, and Terry alluded to it in these draft picks because they let him run the show for the most part. It wasn't Ryan Pace. For everybody talking about like the power struggle. No, it wasn't Ryan Pace. It was, you know, Kyle Smith had complete control of that, you know, college scouting and all that jazz. Yeah, they did a wonderful job, and I'm sure y'all see the title. They nailed the scheme fits this year, in my opinion.
Big time. Well, let's start at the top and talk about these scheme fits. Round number 1, obviously we went Drake London. 6'4", 215-ish. Heavily comparison. Like I initially was all like, okay, we got that Mike Evans receiver, and Toby re-grounded me and is like made me realize that London isn't as physical of a receiver as Mike Evans. Mike Evans is a very physical receiver. But what he is a really good contested catch, has really good body control, and compares favorably to Allen Robinson. Toby, you want to expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, that to me is the comp for me. It's Allen Robinson. If you watch Allen Robinson's highlights, if you watch Drake London's, they make the same catches, contested catches, breakaway for yak, all of that stuff. He fits the scheme perfectly, and I think this is why the Falcons went on ahead and took him at 8 because they couldn't afford to wait to draft, to trade down to take this player because he fits the scheme so much. This is a shared Dave Ragone and Arthur Smith pick because both guys got what they liked and what they wanted and needed for that first pick.
Yes, I mean, you know, Smith talked about it at the presser. You know, the versatility of Drake London being able to, you know, work well from the slot, work from the outside, does some of those like end around type stuff. So, like you said before, yards after the catch, making guys miss, contested catch guy. He's a tough wide receiver as far as like catching the ball. And like they alluded to it in their presser. Like I made a comment on it on Twitter, like Fontenot was talking about, he's not a go out of the bounds type receiver. And I have to feel like that was a shot across the bow to our friend, the gambler. So, you know, that was, but I was very like, my initial reaction, as I said yesterday, was like kind of let down because I really wanted Jermaine Johnson or I really wanted Kyle Hamilton. But I wasn't upset with the pick because it fits. It fits perfectly. And then being the first time since Roddy White's been here that we haven't had a bona fide wide receiver one. You couldn't, and you wasn't going to go into the season like that.
Right.
So, and then once you watch the run on wide receivers in the first round, it made even more sense.
Yeah, it did.
So
it did.
It was a totally safe pick, but I think it's going to be a pick that works out well. And for the folks who like it, he brings that swag. He had that DL chain on, a DL15 or whatever. Like, he brings that swag that people like. And I think he's going to come in here and be, at bare minimum, a very productive receiver.
Yes, I believe the same thing. I think if we get any part of Allen Robinson out of this guy, no injuries, of course, because Allen Robinson did have injuries throughout his career. But when he was good, especially for the Chicago Bears. I mean, straight 2 seasons, 2018 and 19, he had over 1,000 yards and a nice amount of touchdowns in those first 2 seasons with them. And I think if we can get a semblance of that out of Drake London, we got ourselves something 5 years into his career.
Now, I didn't get to you, or I wasn't quick enough on the trigger yesterday, but I'm going to use it today. We got the instance in round 2 of Terry Fontenot on the plane with the red eyes, making the trade up for Arnold Ebiketie, showing like his wheeling and dealing there. And I was so like happy to see that. If we weren't going to go, pass rush in the first round, like being aggressive and getting that guy in the second round, and that guy being Arnold Ebiketie, like that was a welcomed move yesterday.
Yeah, AKA the doctor.
And if he does end up picking, like there's somebody put, like if he'd pick the number 47, we can call him AK-47. And I was like, you know what, I could get down with that. Our good buddy Hunter and Damsky, they weren't too, the aesthetic number aficionados weren't too pleased with the 47, but I think that would be kind of interesting. What is your initial thoughts on like Ebiketie and how he fits?
I mean, and speaking of Ebiketie, let's shout out Damsky and Hunter for joining us last night, man. It was great having them on. Hunter was someone you know him already from Twitter, but to be able to meet him in person at the Senior Bowl, it was just great to have him on last night. So I'm thankful for him and Damsky gracing us with their presence last night. But Ebiketie is a great fit for the Atlanta Falcons. I love him.
Yeah, his one thing I noted when I was doing his tape before the draft, like during the draft season rather, he's got a real nice Euro step, that real nice lateral step that gets him inside, like crossing the face of the tackles. He pairs that real well with a swipe. And he's not just a speed guy; he's a power guy as well. Like watched him quite frequently pushing, like bull rushing guard tackles and rushing from the inside. Like he's a guy I'm really excited about, and I'm super glad that he ended up on the team.
And one of the things I noticed with watching him, man, he could take the same move and change it into something different on the spot. He takes that club jab move, and he can turn that into a club rip move instantly. He can turn that into a bull rush instantly. So you don't know if he's going to continue doing that club move the whole time, or he's going to change it. And he really keeps tackles off base on what he's trying to do when he has a plan for him. He may earn that name doctor, man. He's gonna have to earn that in the NFL.
And like, you know what? If he's gonna call himself, Dr. Pass Rush, he needs to go ahead and call up Chuck Smith and get some more moves been working. Go work with a pass rush doctor again there. So because I think you pairing him with Lorenzo Carter and A.D. Ogundeji, and then the guy we're going to talk about here in a little bit, like we ain't coming away with this season with 18 sacks. I can't see it happening. They definitely improved, and I think they made a real good bid about maybe showing Grady Jarrett that, hey, look, we're getting you some help here.
Yeah.
So that could be a real positive as well. We'll see how that keeps on rolling. I'm take a break there, and I want to get into the chat for a little bit. Okay. I don't want to just blaze through all this without, because folks are commenting on what we're saying, so I don't want to miss out on that.
Let's do it.
Rob B says that wasn't a bad draft at all. Not at all. I think it was a very solid draft. Anonymous says, "Let's go." Got the stream notification. Got the stream notification just as I got off work. All right, well timed.
Yes,
man. Glad we can pull that off. Eli Ratcliffe says, "Our team got very physical the past 3 days. Can't complain about that." Yeah. You can. There shouldn't be much more finesse ball in Atlanta. James Montgomery says, "Oh shoot, I'm here from the start at once." Well, we're glad you're here, James.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you.
Your boy Deezy, what's going on, your boy? He says, "I'm excited as always. Can't wait to see these players get coached up. It should make for a real fun training camp." The Big says, "What's good, P4P? Can't wait until training camp." Yep, that's I'm right there with you. JD in the truck is joining us. What's going on, JD? He says, "What's up, fellas? I finally get to catch y'all live. Falcons nailed this draft. I got a real good feeling about what they've done here." Dwight says, he says, #Bird Gang. Chris Jameson says, "Left guard competition. Hoorah. We're going to get into that." Rose Stockton gives it an A- draft. I could see that. I could definitely see that. Anonymous says it's a win. He says, "If we weren't getting JJ, I'm glad we moved up to get Ebiketie." Like there's a part of me that's like, I'm not a huge fan of losing the 4th round pick, which we'll get into, but the cost of doing business there, I'm happy that we have Ebiketie. So in that aspect, I'm good. Rajay Patel says, "Honestly thinking about if we got positions of need for all throughout the draft." We did get some. I think this was a draft where BPA really met need in a lot of
met need in
a lot of areas. I mean, when you had as many holes as you had, there was almost right.
Yeah, that was a given.
He adds it up. He comes back with and people were hating on the wide receiver in the first pick, but this dude London only played 8 games last season, and that's right. And he put up some monster numbers in those 8 games before he broke his ankle. Eric Mack says, "Did we get a running back?" We did. We'll get into that as we continue down through the list. I wanted to break a little bit to get y'all's initial opinions. Bionic says, hoping Ritter starts. Yeah, we'll get there. We're going to talk about that. All right, so that's pretty much where we're at. No, Camrick says Justin Ross is an undrafted free agent, possibly. I've heard he's got some real concerning medicals. And also something else you got to think, guys, with the COVID stuff, like there was like 2,000 potential draftees. So that pool was real big. So that was something that you have to keep in mind with some of these guys falling. But like I said, we'll keep talking about that. So we left off at Ebiketie in the top of the 2nd round. Pick number 58 is where the one pick that I think is a boomer bust. And that's Troy Anderson, the linebacker out of Montana State. Now, going into this draft, it was being reported that teams were really high on Troy Anderson. And it was being reported that we were really high on Troy Anderson. And it seemed to bear out there. Now, this could be a situation where you do have a true BPA. Because you have Michael Walker, you signed Rashawn Evans, even though, which is telling, they didn't mention his name in the press conference. You still have Deion Jones. But you went out and added a Montana State kid who is, by all accounts, could be your Foyer replacement. Like super smart, valedictorian in high school, won accolades in his like college division at 3 different positions. Running back, quarterback, and linebacker. Without pads on, running a 4.2 40. And so, he's a guy who's like big boomer bust. I know initially, Toby, you weren't necessarily super thrilled about it. But where have you come around now in a sense, I guess you could say?
So Hunter helped me come back and say, like, I looked at this guy, and I think the North Dakota State game is what turned me off a little bit about him. He started off a little slow in that game, and it didn't show the speed that he has and possesses consistently. That was my only problem. But what I will tell you is settling down on this guy. This guy's processing speed is quicker than just about anybody I know. He can process things so fast, faster than a computer. And what he sees and diagnosing it. And even if he makes a mistake, he has the speed to be able to recover and just about dismantle anything that he sees in his sight, from screens, running back play, blitzing and getting back there. So this guy is definitely a smart, intelligent, fast reacting, processing speed type of player. And I like that.
Yeah, no, I like the intangibles that he brings, and I love the athleticism that he brings.
Yeah.
If any of y'all are familiar with the relative athletic score, or RAS score, he scored a perfect 10, which is ridiculous. Now, this is one of those deals where how quickly is he going to be able to translate that into the NFL play?
Right.
Right. And, how quickly, like, let's put it like this way. We know for a solid fact that Dean Pease loves to A-gap blitz. Yeah. And he didn't do as much of it with Foye and Dion, but you have Rashawn Evans back in here, and now this blazing fast linebacker. I could easily see it. Nick Bangalow says Troy Anderson. No, somebody was asking. Oh, it was Bionic says, is Troy a linebacker or a DE? He's a linebacker all day long. Yeah, 6'3", 242, I believe, is what his measure is.
That's your prototypical size for a 3-4 linebacker.
Exactly. He's your linebacker all day long. To Big says, I truly love Troy Anderson. I believe he's the steal for Atlanta. He could easily be the steal for Atlanta. Yeah. We could look back in 2 or 3 years and be like, my God, why was this guy sitting there in the second or the bottom half of the second? So kind of like we do with Grady, always bringing up his 5th round grade. Yeah, Troy Anderson, I think, is a guy. To me, he's the boomer bust, but I think he's got a better chance of being boom than bust.
Yeah.
So that leads us to could be the marquee pick of the entire draft. Depends on how it shakes out. And that's round number 3, pick 74, quarterback Desmond Ritter out of Cincinnati. I make no bones here. Through this whole draft cycle, Desmond Ritter has been the guy that I felt like could come in and have the best career. Now, I felt like Malik Willis was the higher ceiling, but he may not reach it. And I think Matt Corral kind of falls in that same boat as far as the athleticism and stuff like that. But when you talk about measurables, 6'3", I think 205 or 210.
Yeah,
he's got a bigger stature. Where Howell and Malik and Corral were all closer to that 6 foot range. So that could have been the deciding factor. But I really want to say the deciding factor was the type of scheme that they run up there in Cincinnati. Verbiage, yes, he's going to have to learn, but concepts are very similar. Very similar on a lot of the crossing routes. The way they kind of use their tight ends, the running backs out of the backfield. Yep. The RPO game, the way it was used, where Malik and Corral was heavy RPO based. Ritter was not heavy, but it was used effectively.
Right.
So I think that, that's, probably that's how the RPO game is used in the NFL right now, is not heavily used, but effectively used. So I don't think there's going to be a big learning curve for Desmond Ritter. But I will say this, as of today, end of the 3rd round, I still think Mariota is your starter for this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if something were to happen to Mariota, he has been slightly injury prone. If he does go down, I don't think there's going to be a huge drop off in physical play versus with Ritter. Now, you might have some experience in decision making. Obviously, you may not be at the same level yet, but physical play, I think they're pretty close to each other. Well,
yeah.
You got anything you want to add to that?
You probably gonna be shocked by this, but this was my most favorite pick.
Whoa, hold on now.
And I'm gonna tell you,
I'm slightly playing camera here, but I am like legit kind of shocked by that statement.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you why. I'm glad we got him here because we know he has work to do. One of the issues I had was with his errant throws.
Right.
You can't do that in the NFL, but mechanics should be able to fix that. Where he's able to plant his feet a little bit better and get better with his footwork. That's going to help him with the errant throw situation. Other than that, this guy can play on the center. He can play shotgun. He can do the RPO. Now, I do believe he will be expected to run a little bit more RPO than he did at Cincinnati and run the football a little bit more than he did because he didn't have as high numbers as, if I'm not mistaken, than Matt Corral and Willis in that regard as far as running the football, or Sam Howell for that matter.
Yeah, Sam Howell didn't have much of a choice.
But this guy right here, one of the things I tweeted out when we signed Mariota is that he would become the model for whoever we draft.
You did.
And when his time is up, that guy will be able to step in without missing a beat. And Arthur Smith alluded to that because he said it felt good having someone else that you don't have to change the game plan for if he needs to come in. And that is great for a guy that already models his game after Marcus Mariota, whom everybody has compared him to.
Right.
Marcus Mariota.
Exactly.
So
now,
I love that.
And now he gets to come in and learn. If Mariota holds it down, like somebody asked me, was kind of like giving me flack about it on Twitter a little bit, but at absolute worst, you have a long-term backup.
Yeah.
If Mariota comes in and like grabs this job by a chokehold, and performs well and really shows you why he was picked, second overall so many years ago, then Desmond Ritter is the perfect backup for that.
Yeah.
If by chance it doesn't, when we get a Russell Wilson situation where Ritter just comes in and flat out outplays Mariota, I ain't mad at it.
Yeah. And it just might happen. I mean, look, this I make no mistake about it. Desmond was not happy going in the third round. You can see it on his face.
No.
But what that did is create a certain hunger in him that he's coming in here feeling like he can compete for that spot. He's already said as much before we even drafted him that he's coming in to become the number one guy.
That's
so let's see if he's able to push Mariota to get it.
Like Fred Butch just added in the chat, Arthur Smith has said his best quarterback will win the job. Yeah. And they have made no promises to Mariota. Like I said, I still think Mariota is going to be able to hold him off at least for a year.
Yeah, I believe that too.
But it wouldn't surprise me if we had a Russell Wilson situation.
Yeah,
it really wouldn't. All right, let's jump. Let's read some stuff from chat. So we got down to the Desmond Ritter. So we'll pick up again here in the other round 3 pick, which is a guy I was super excited about. Let's see here. Tabig says he was an outside linebacker, but I believe he should play. Talking about Troy Anderson. Bionic says we will at least have a top 10 defense next season. I don't know about top 10, but I would imagine that it would come up to league average. Like I'm looking somewhere between 20 and league average because, I mean, you got guys who are now, second year in the system, better idea of what's going on. Rookies from last year should be taking a step forward, infusing of better talent, I believe, this year. So, I think that at bare minimum, but if you come from 32 to 16, that's a huge jump.
Yeah, it is.
So, I would take that from year 1 to year 2 in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Anonymous says Anderson was the fastest linebacker for sure. Yep. Bionic says Ritter was a great decision. I think Ritter will end up being a great decision, whether he's the long-term backup or the next face of the franchise. And the fact that you only spent a third on him does not tie you from having, if you find yourself within striking distance or enamored by, C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young or whoever next year, Slovis or whatever. Man, something's got my nose tickling. Anyway, don't you hate that, man? I think it's my mustache. Oh, anyway, Let's see. Keeping it rolling. Anonymous says he was the guy in Montana. I think he might bring some solid leadership. That's an interesting point you bring up there, because 5 or 6 out of the 8 guys we drafted were team captains.
Yeah.
And so you really see that they're going for that leadership, that high character, which is really funny with the Watson thing, but we ain't gonna get back into that. But they're definitely drafting for high character. That much is for sure. Let's see. Keep it on. Let's see. To Big says, we just got to be patient with Troy. Yeah. Joshua Levy says, what's the story on the running back we drafted? Is he just a competition or a rotational running back, or potentially a true running back 1? Well, all right, well, that leads us in. No, well, we'll get to him. That's round 5.
We're coming.
We'll get to him. So let's go ahead and jump into the next guy, which was round 3, pick 82, a guy that I was really high on, which is Deangelo Malone out of Western Kentucky. Yeah. And you say, JR, why are you high on a guy who is out of Western Kentucky? Because, my God, man, dude played with a lot of power.
Yeah, he did.
And, very productive, met all the measurables. And, for what it's worth, he's a hometown kid, which I didn't know that until the draft. But, hometown kid, grew up rooting on the Falcons, tailgating at the Georgia Dome. And now he gets to come home and play in the red and black.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great pick. I actually liked him over Amaro Barnes out of Virginia Tech. I thought Deangelo Malone was a better fit for us, and I'm glad we drafted him. I mean, you look at the Falcons; they got some guys that can fly off that edge, man. If Vincent Taylor and Anthony Rush can do their thing to keep guys occupied up there in that middle, then these guys are going to eat as rookies in their first year with the Atlanta Falcons, in my opinion.
Especially if a guy like Taquan Graham takes a step and starts providing you some rush from some pass rush from a 5 tech or 3 tech type position. You're really starting to see, like Jay Black 142 just says, Malone also fits Pease's philosophy of being a multi-tool guy. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're starting to get. They tried to do that stuff with Fowler last year. Didn't work out, but Malone is, he's got the athleticism that you're looking for. He physically plays bigger than what he is.
Right.
Like if you watch him play, it's kind of the reverse opposite. When I watch Majay Sanders play, I thought he was like a 230, 240, round guy. But watching Malone play, I thought he was bigger than 240. When it's the reverse opposite that happened. And so with Malone, like I said, he plays way bigger than what he is. And I really love the way he transitions like speed to power on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, man, I love the guys. And see, we play a lot of creeper style defense, and now you got guys that are athletic enough to be able to drop into coverage and switch out with someone else that's coming in and still, even though it looks like a blitz, it's still a 4-man front. You got guys with that athleticism now that can drop into that coverage and drop into those zones coming off that front. And I'm excited about that part, especially Deangelo Malone. He should have some success doing that. He might have a couple of picks doing that this year as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, like I said, or like we've been saying, a lot of scheme fits here. A lot of guys who, fit the mental side of it, fit the scheme side of it, and fit the physicality side of it.
Yeah.
D. Sloan just tipped us $5, which we appreciate. He says the draft was just the beginning, but with us getting Ritter, we struck gold. I think we struck gold through a lot of this draft for what we were going for. I truly do. And I do think that we struck gold with Ritter. I think his floor is, like I said, a high-level backup. And for a third-round pick, that ain't bad. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see here. We're gonna get in here. Somebody asked me. Thomas Emig says, "Will Ritter start?" I don't foresee him starting. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility, but I don't foresee it happening. So that's kind of my thought there. Fred Butt says, "I love the big Georgia guard we got." All right, we're getting there, Fred. We're getting there.
Everybody ready to roll on.
Yeah. Everybody's they're just talking, which is great. It's what we're gonna do. You know what we want to do for a little while here. Let's see. Austin Douglas says, "Would we should bring back Mike Pennell back to be more beef on the inside?" I think Vincent Taylor is going to take the spot of Mike Pennell. Yeah. Myself. Yeah. I think those two signings, bringing back Anthony Rush and bringing in Vincent Taylor. You add that with Taquan Graham and Grady Jarrett, who hopefully stays. You know, hopefully is more amenable to stay now. I don't think you really need to do much more defensive line wise, honestly.
Yeah, not right now. Anyway.
Maybe next year you add, somebody who's otherworldly kind of deal. Let's see. We're gonna get there. Yep. Hucklebuck, I'm going to answer your question. I see it. You're asking me about the guard. We're gonna get there. I promise. We got one more person to talk about before we get there. Anyway, so all right.
Good.
So now we're going to talk about Bacardi 151. I mean, pick 151, and running back Tyler Algieri, or it's got to be Algieri. I think is how you say that. There's no A in the last part. So Tyler Algieri, BYU running back, who really caught my eye in his bowl game, and that bowl game was the same one that Arthur Smith referenced at his press conference. The guy has real good contact balance, does well like bouncing off of people, breaking tackles. He just as soon run over you than around you. Doesn't necessarily possess the breakaway speed, but if he can get out into the second, like if he can get out there, like he's broken a handful of like 80-yard touchdowns. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But somebody asked earlier if I thought it was, if we thought it was going to be just like competition. It was Joshua Malavy. He says, is he competition, rotational, or potentially a true RB1? I don't think they're going to do a true RB1. I don't think they're necessarily looking for that right now. So I think he's going to be part of the rotation. Now, he could end up being the lead back in the stable. But right now, I think he's true competition for Mike Davis in a sense.
I would keep an eye on Damian Williams and what he does. He could very well be the leader in that stable this year. So I would definitely keep an eye on that because of his ties with Kansas City, running a similar offense that he went to in Chicago. Right. And now he's over here, who Michael Petrie had the pleasure of coaching him last year. He's over here now with us. And I would keep an eye on Damian Williams. But I will say this much. Tyler Algier is definitely a great fit. He reminds me of Jordan Howard. If you look at their numbers, they're very similar with their combine and pro day numbers that they ran and the size of these guys as well. And I think this is why he's a good fit for the Atlanta Falcons and fits in this scheme. Right. And what we want to do. Now, as far as him being the lead guy, I don't know yet.
Yeah, somebody, Bionic says, I don't like CP being our best running back. That's not good at all. I think CP is going to be more that slot receiver myself. I think he's going to spend more time. I think they ran him at running back as much as they did because he was effective. But you did see that he got wore down as the season went on. I don't think that was the intent, but you didn't really have that many weapons or that many options. You have more options and more weapons this time around. In this season with Drake London, a second year Kyle Pitts, Alden Tate, Demir Bird. I keep wanting to say Dimitri. Demir Bird. You have more weapons this time around. So
and Olamide's a kid. We can't forget about Olamide.
I'm gonna forget about Olamide's a kid.
Don't do it. Don't do it, JR.
But anyway, so I mean, you have more options. So I think CP is going to be used in the way that they envisioned using him, which is wherever they think the best matchup is. I think a good bit of time when he lines up as a running back, I think more often than not he's going to end up motioning out into the slot or something of that nature, or running a route out of the backfield, because very successful doing that. So that's my assessment there. So, but I'm really excited about Algieri. Like he was a hard runner, and like he needs to step up his pass blocking. That was the one thing that I noticed that he wasn't like phenomenal at.
Yeah.
Everybody likes to play that where he ran down and punched the ball out from behind.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the reason why he had to do that is because he missed a block, and the guy stepped in front of the pass. You know.
Yeah, and he's gonna have to work on his ball security as well. Because he does have some issues with putting the ball on the ground a little bit here and there. So he's going to have to work on that. But he's not pressed to have to come in here as a 5th round pick to be the starting guy. Right. And like I said, I would keep an eye on Damian Williams, because that's definitely a name we should be keeping an eye on to see what he does in this rotation of guys.
Got you. I completely agree. I think Damian Williams is going to end up being a bigger pickup than we envisioned, because then you also freely brought back Olesen, and he might get more burn. Like, it's going to be hard pressed. I'm not calling it yet, but I'm really starting to think that maybe Mike Davis isn't going to stick on this roster.
He may not. Right now. And you signed a future deal with Caleb Huntley to come back as well. So it's crowded. It's crowded in that running back room right now.
Very crowded.
It's crowded.
William Carter tipped us $5, which we appreciate.
Ooh, appreciate
he says,
that.
"Rise up, Pound for Pound family. Great live streaming these last 3 days of the draft. Can't wait for the season to begin, and let's win in 2022. That's it, man. Like, it's been fun. These last 3 days have been an absolute blast. So let's see. Austin Douglas says, I agree, JR. Just imagine a 6'5" London on the outside, 6'5" Tate on the outside, 6'2" CP in the slot. Exactly.
Yeah.
The versatility of all those guys, you can mix that all up. Like, you could have CP motion from the running back all the way out to the edge, and it not be a joke. You know.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, 2 formations off the rip that I think is going to hurt people with those 3 guys: the bunch set and the stack formation. That, especially with Pitts and London stacked up one behind the other, I think that is going to tear some people up, man. And so I'm excited for that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm extremely excited for that. Let's see here. All right, I think we've made everybody wait long enough. Let's go ahead and knock out these 2 Georgia Bulldog picks. Now, I will say this, for at least for a year, I don't want to hear no more about the Falcons don't pick Georgia Bulldogs, because they did. And to my understanding, these aren't no throwaway picks in the 6th. You got Justin Schaefer, the guard, who very physical guard. Like, I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend like I know a lot about him. Toby, you might be able to speak to his play as you watch the Bulldogs more than I do. But like, he, by all accounts, he's a very physical guard, a run mauler. I didn't like the fact that he did give up 4 sacks this year. And his sack, he gave up 1 last year and 4 this year. But he does project as either a right or left guard. Mm-hmm. So, and there's a clip floating around on Twitter of him just absolutely destroying a twist from Michigan. And he did that from the left guard spot. Yeah. So, like, I'm pretty excited about looking like what appears to be like decent competition for Jalen Mayfield. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So is there anything you can add there?
Well, I will say this much. They chose him over Salyer.
Okay, somebody was asking about that.
I had a 3rd round pick on Jamari Salyer. And if I'm not mistaken, he went before Jamari. And I'm going to tell you why they chose him.
Go ahead.
He's got more nasty in him than Jamari does. And you can see it off the rip. I mean, this guy makes straight up violent contact when he gets out on his blocks. And this guy can run for his size. He can get out and get down that field when he needs to. I mean, he needs to work more on his combo blocking, which is probably the reason why he gave up more sacks, because he doesn't do well in that area in knowing who to pick up on his combo blocks. And that is something he's going to have to work on. Footwork as well. But I like his hand placement. He has pretty decent hand placement. He just got to work on that footwork to go along with it. But he gets off the snap of the ball fast, and he has that nasty in him, which makes him a guy that Dwayne Ledford loves.
I saw a tweet from Merriweather, the O-line coach, Duke Merriweather, and like he was hyped that he was staying here in Georgia, and he even said that Ledford would get him right, you know.
Yeah.
So that was a pleasant. Anytime, like, I try to follow people who like coaches who coach, you know, successful positions, and Duke Merriweather on Twitter, like, he's an O-line guy, and so to see him chime in on that was a made me perk up a little bit, you know, on that pick.
Yeah. And I'm just going to step out on a limb and say this. He's my poor man's Akeem Ikwonu.
Okay. All right.
For that guard.
I got you.
And Dwayne Ledford was salivating over Akeem.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we knew we weren't going to get him. But now you got a guy that if you can coach him up right, who has the potential to develop that nastiness that Akeem has at left guard spot and really dominate some guys up there in the front. And that's that. I'm stepping out, and I'm going to say that right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
If I'm wrong,
that's fine. But that's part of what we're doing.
I'll admit I'm wrong.
Jay Black says, I was happy to see the Pound for Pound live stream. I like you guys' channel. Well, we appreciate you being here.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Nick says, I like the schemes we got, the players fit. Yep. Iron Mike says, I like the last few picks. Nick says, undrafted players next, which brings into Anonymous's thing of Alec Lindstrom is an undrafted free agent right now. So it was a guy that me and you have 4th round grades on. And a lot of people had 4th round grades on. So, you know, if you want to, hey, Deangelo Malone and Justin Schaefer are cousins. So let's just keep the family reunion going.
Yes, sir.
And get Alec Lindstrom in here with Chris Lindstrom and let him compete for the that center job. I would love to see that.
Let's do it. Make it happen, Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot. Y'all need to have this guy up in here by tonight.
Right. Dave says, you two guys have great chemistry. We've been doing it long enough. We ought to have great chemistry by now.
we've been doing it for quite some time, man. We appreciate you noticing that, though.
We thank you, man. I saw that comment. I was like, I got to read that because that's just funny.
Yeah.
That's just funny. Now, okay, it was Hucklebuck who was asking. He said, I'm gonna scroll back up because I want to read the comment because he asked about 3 or 4 times. And you answered. He said, what was the thought process in taking Schaefer over Samler? Like you said, I think it was his nastiness. And I also think that it was the guard, you know. You wanted that guard competition.
Yeah.
So let's see. Bionic says, okay, did we see the clip of him locking up Hutchinson? We did. Anonymous, no, that was Bionic. Anonymous says, I honestly think Schaefer is better than some of the O-line taken before him, to be honest. We'll see how it transpires and how it really comes about. Yeah. Jay Black says the Falcons Georgia picks are steals. Like the one of the chat members said, the TE will surprise us in 2024. You projecting there, Jay Black, in 2024.
Dang, boy, that's some serious projection right there.
Put your name out there like that. Now, so I guess that'll move us into, again, this is another guy that I have to admit, I did the tight ends. I didn't do a ton of them because there wasn't a ton that I thought were really draftable, to be completely honest. So in the last pick of the 6th round for us, pick 213, we picked tight end John Fitzpatrick. By all accounts, John Fitzpatrick is a run blocking tight end.
He's at this right now at this level. That's where I see him at. He don't have the numbers to even indicate he's going to be a dangerous pass catcher at the next level. Now he may develop into that guy, and he'll have more time to, because he was in a crowded tight end room with Georgia.
Of course, Darnell Washington and Bowser, all those guys. So I was trying to see if I could. I was trying to see if I could find the quote from. Let me see. Give me 2 seconds. Because he made a comment, like his comment was about like blowing open holes and run blocking. So give me a half a second and see if I can pull this up. Yeah, the clip they're showing is he's blowing open holes. Yeah. Let's see. Come on.
But once again, he fits the mold.
I mean, you like Lee
Smith and Terry were looking for in players.
Yeah, Lee Smith retired. So like you had to and like you signed Ferkser. But Ferkser is
I can't out Ferkser it's hard to say.
I don't know. Anyway. Like but he's tight end too in a sense. He's not your blocking tight end. Like he will do some blocking, but he's not your blocking tight end. Like he's gonna play that hopefully a better version of the Hayden Hurst role last year. Being familiar. So that's what you're hoping there. Let's see. Austin says, I actually like the tight end. He's 6'7", red zone nightmare. I don't know if he's a red zone nightmare, but you're adding size. With
I mean, if you believe it, we believe it.
I'll go with it.
Hey, call it. Shoot.
D. Sloan says Mayfield needs to be battling for a tackle spot. Arthur Smith needs to put in the same position he thrived at when he was in college, and he's got to use a lot of his players in the position they formerly played in. Mayfield projects as a guard because of his shorter arms.
Yeah, and Mayfield, whether we like it or not, is going to be the guy you're going to have to beat if you want.
I think so.
And I think all 5 original linemen, even McGarry, they're going to be the 5 guys that if Fetty wants that job at right tackle or Wilkerson wants that job at right tackle, they're going to have to beat out McGarry to get it, and Mayfield's going to have to be the guy you beat to get that job. Henderson's going to have to be the guy you beat if you want the center job.
Exactly. I don't think they're not just handing out anything one way or the other. So, let's see. I'm going to keep right on a rocking here. Zabni Jalahu says I. And he said it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So, really wanted me to say the letter I. Done. Got it. All right. Dexter Valor says, I like the whole class looking back on it. I think once, that was what we were trying to say on Thursday night with the Drake London. Like, you got to see the whole thing before you can overreact one way or the other. And that's what we were trying to get across. Only Mist says, the only pick I didn't like was the first pick. Yeah, so there you go. I really like the rest. We'll see if you really like the rest, then now you can kind of stomach that first pick a little bit more.
Yeah.
King Jaffe Joe says, not mad at Ritter, but dang, I did edit there. He said, dang, Malik was right there. He was. So that means that should tell you that the coaching staff and everybody preferred Ritter.
Because he's the guy they envision being able to develop fast.
Right.
And that is the reason why they went with him. Now, another bonus of having Ritter, when you get to rookie camp, he's going to be able to do a lot of things to help that defense of rookies get more prepared for the NFL, because they're going to be able to run the stuff right that they're going to run with Marcus Mariota. So that is a bonus for the Atlanta Falcons rookies when they get ready to go into rookie camp.
Right, exactly. So that is that right there is a perfect explanation of why you went Ritter over Malik. Nick says fast and physical for real. We'll see. Quinn got the fast part. He definitely missed on the physical part.
Yeah, he did.
Schaefer Seth's flip phone. Oh, so his phone is talking for him. So Seth's flip phone says Schaefer is a future 10-year NFL player. Book it. And that's like, there are possibilities. I said that not just about Schaefer, but I said that throughout this whole draft. The way this draft laid out, there are guys that you're going to look back in 10 years and say that dude was drafted in the 5th round, or that dude was drafted in the 3rd, because this draft was just so kind of funky.
Yeah.
There wasn't top heavy, which is what we were so used to seeing. We're so used to seeing a top heavy draft that when we come across someone that wasn't top heavy, we just immediately wanted to say, oh, it's a bad draft. Mm-hmm. It's not a bad draft. Mm-hmm. It's like, it is a quintessential meat and potatoes draft that you're going to have guys be on your roster for years to come, or at least be in the NFL for years to come.
Yeah, Schaefer could be a steal. I'm going to tell y'all something. He has a full year where he can really bulk up a little bit more. I'm talking about bulk up physically. I'm not talking about getting fat, because the guy's already lean as it is. But if he has a full year of bulking up, this guy could be a 6th-round steal for the Atlanta Falcons that we could be hearing about going to the Pro Bowl. That's how much I really believe in this guy and what he brings to the table. If D-Leg Leopard could get him to clean up some of that stuff that he has issues with, like the footwork, for instance, and being more solid on making his contacts when he's getting out on his blocks, because he does it. He just got to be consistent. Right. This guy could be a 6th-round steal.
Yeah, exactly. Which I'm here for. I'm here for all the 6th-round steals. You know, like
including Troy Anderson.
Yeah, exactly. I'm here for a 2nd-round steal. Yeah. Let's see. Anonymous says, I forgot we signed Frisker. Yeah, exactly. And you're also he brings up. You're also thinking about Parker Hesse, like, and what was it, Ryan Baker?
Mm-hmm. Rain.
Yeah.
Yep.
Parker Rain. I mean, there's like, wow. This camp is going to be real.
Tight end room is crowded too, isn't it?
It's going to be real interesting. Let's see. We're going to keep right on moving here. Trey Sleazy says Desmond Ritter will give us a championship. Maybe. he says. That's, I mean, good. Hey, bold talk. Believe in yourself. But it takes a lot to do that. Chris Jameson says Fitzpatrick's tape versus Cincinnati in 2020 showed promise. I'll have to go back and check that out. Let's see. Nick says Fitz will be like Lee Smith. I think that's the role he's going to play early on.
Yeah, that's the replacement.
Jay Black says he's talking to somebody. Shonuff says King Ritter is more mature, better able to read defenses, stronger leader, and closer to being pro ready. He will pick up the playbook quickly and implement to game situations. It will be fine. Yeah. That's a well stated statement there, buddy. Like you summed that up quite well. Bo Walker says, great to see the new brass making great decisions. Love my Falcons, and hopefully will be relevant soon. What I really hope is that we have, good Lord, this spam thing is back again. Good Lord. I can't.
Oh, Lord.
Give me 2 seconds. Let me report this thing.
Do your thing.
That crap, these bot things. Like I reported this same one last night,
Yeah, they know how to get in there another way. But
okay. Hopefully that'll be the last time that transpires, maybe. Anyway, okay. Anonymous says, LOL, best cams again. Yeah, I know. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, back to what I was doing. What was I saying before all that happened? Okay. I hope now people will start maybe changing their tune a little bit on this front office. I know at the end of last season, people were already trying to fire Terry and Arthur, and realizing that you had one bad season with a bad roster. And so, hopefully you're doing what you can to get that roster situation fixed. And even though we got a tough schedule next season, maybe it'll be, maybe you'll start to see that growth, Deontay Watkins says, what is y'all's favorite pick? My favorite pick of this draft right now has to be Arnold Ebiketie. I'm very excited about him. I'm very excited about what he represents as much as I am about him. So what about you?
Yeah. I'm sticking with what I said. Desmond Ritter. I'm true to that. I am excited about one, where we got him, and number two, the possibilities that he could bring to this team, the leadership. I didn't realize he had that much leadership, but when I started really watching him, he's a capable leader, and this is a guy that will know how to run this offense and is hungry because he's mad right now. I'm telling you, you may not realize it, but this guy's got smoke and fire coming out of his nose because he went in the third round. He's got a chip on his shoulder to prove that he should have went earlier than where he went.
Exactly. You're exactly right. I think that he comes in wanting and willing to prove doubters wrong. A lot of these quarterbacks are going to, because that's all they heard all offseason, that they weren't as good as last year, or they're not going to be as good as next year. You might as well wait on a quarterback. That's all they heard. And you can't tell me, especially in this day of social media, when you see Lamar Jackson tweeting out, what the F as soon as Marquise Brown gets traded. These guys know.
Yeah.
These guys see it. These guys hear it. So let's see. We're going to keep right on rocking. Just Owl says, surprised we didn't double dip at wide receiver. I'm guessing they have some undrafted free agents in mind. What you got there, Toby?
They feel real good about what they got right now. They will bring some guys in, and who knows, we could have a surprise trade now that the draft is over, once they get a real good look on what they got in this roster. So we don't know. But right now, I think they feel good about the guys that they have on this roster as far as wide receivers. They got many different flavors, as Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot like to say, with these wide receivers that they have. You got three big triple threat 6'5" guys that are on your roster right now that you feel real good about, especially getting down in that red zone. We might have
some potential breaking news here on Pound for Pound. OBJ just tweeted out, breaking news, Deebo Samuel to the Patriots. Now, that's not confirmed by Schaefer or anybody like that. But that's OBJ saying that it's that he's going to the Patriots. That's interesting. I'm trying to see if anybody else puts it out there. All right, let's see here. I had to throw that out there because, come on, breaking news. I need to give you a sounder. Anyway. Chris Jameson says, with next year's cap space and another solid haul in 2023, the draft will be looking much better. That's something else y'all got to keep in mind. They're playing the long game as much as they're trying to play this game too.
Yep.
So it's as much about this year as it is coming up. They know what they got in their bank account coming up. So you might not have got a receiver, a second receiver, but you might grab one next year in the free agency.
Yeah, and you just might.
Somebody said best cams, go over to the Saints chat. That's right. Get out of here. Nobody wants to see that mess. Anyway.
I do want to apologize for the excessive noise tonight, guys. It's a few little doors slamming. I got my niece here with my grandchild, and then my daughter just roaming around up here. So I do apologize if you hear some excessive noise.
Hey, that's all good, man, because at the end of the day, it's life, and we don't have right now, as it stands, we don't have studios to do this in. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll have a studio to do this in. Let's see. Where was a Hucklebuck says, do you have a group of players you would like to see the Falcons bring in undrafted free agents? A group of players, maybe some more corners. Maybe. You signed a lot of nickel corners in the offseason. But hey, this is a good time to bring up what you had an interesting thought about the undrafted free agents.
I would be shocked if the Falcons signed more than 8 to 10 guys this time around. I think there was a reason why they signed 21 future contracts, because when you look at this draft, it was a solid draft, but I don't think it has enough undrafted free agents warranted to come in here to fill up this roster, especially when you already had 72 players going in and now you're about at 80, 82 guys already. So you're only looking to have about 8 guys, undrafted to complete a 90-man roster.
If they do find a bunch of guys that they like, it might spur the cutting of like Kendall Sheffield or, potentially John Kaminsky or Marlon Davidson or what have you.
Yeah.
All right, Tom Pelissero, who is a blue check guy, breaking news type guy, just tweeted out, "This is not true. Carry on." So, as of right now,
all right.
Debo's yeah.
Keep moving.
Nothing to see here, folks. Keep it moving.
Yeah.
Oh man. Let's all right. What am I going with? Where am I at? Get back into. All right. Redbird Eagle says, bots distress me. Pound for pound impresses me. There you go. Or inspires me. That's what we try to do, yeah? Trinity Clark says, I wish we would have gotten a corner in the draft and picked up Calvin Austin. Calvin Austin would have been fun, but like I said, this was a draft where there were so many different directions you could go. I'm almost not mad at guys that didn't get picked up by us,
Here's why you don't take Calvin Austin, because you already got him on your roster. His name is Demir Bird, who ran a similar time at his pro day of 4.28 unofficial time. And so and he's about maybe a little taller than Calvin Austin. So the Falcons were very comfortable with giving up that 4th round pick, which I believe that's where Calvin Austin went. And they were willing to gamble on that because they weren't looking for any more wide receivers in this draft.
Let's see. Atlanta GA Faithful says, good draft. I would have liked nail your over Fitzpatrick. I think he was another wide receiver. But they needed a blocking tight end. Mike Lewis says, who do y'all think is the sleeper pick? Right now I'm gonna say Troy Anderson as the sleeper pick.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Like you could easily say Desmond Ritter, but I think the sleeper pick is going to be Troy Anderson.
Yeah, I'm going Justin Schaefer.
Okay, Justin Schaefer.
That's where I'm going. I believe the Falcons may have gotten themselves a steal right there with him, in the 6th round.
Yeah, and that's a strong possibility. Austin Douglas says, surprised we didn't get a speed back too, someone that can take it to the distance. I don't think they care much about speed backs. I think they'd much rather pound you into oblivion. Move the chains, keep the clock moving, ball control offense. Yeah. That's what they're looking for. Their speed is coming on is in the wide receiver market with especially with Bird. That's the Bird and Oz. That's your speed. Trinity says we should sign Jarvis Landry to lead the wide receiver room. He's still out there. I know they were in on him early. So that the longer he sits out there, the more a possibility it might be.
Yeah, it sounds like Demir Bird is going to be that guy. That's what it sounds like. And Demir actually alluded to being the guy to take some of these guys under his wing and show them the ropes in the NFL.
Because you got 2 veteran receivers in Demir Bird and Auden Tate, and you have Cordell Patterson in that room.
Yeah.
So, they're not without some form of leadership. Alex Edwards says, at first I didn't like the pick at 8, thought it was a reach, but now that it's over with, I'm fine with it because it seems like we hit on all cylinders, and I'd rather reach on a receiver than a QB. I agree there, but I will also say, if you like groupthink, consensus, that kind of stuff, a lot of people had Drake London in the top 10. Overall.
Yeah, they
rankings.
Did.
So in that aspect, I don't think he's as much of a reach as we like to think he is. So let's keep. Jay Black says we signed a veteran cornerback, so look for Falcons to pick a corner 1st or 2nd round next year, possible. Let's see. Cameron Wooden says this draft was great. Drake was the question mark, maybe. I wanted Johnson. I was right there with you. I wanted Johnson as well. What do y'all think? I think we just kind of summed that up. Let's see. Charleston Nash says, I'm looking to get a Drake jersey. Which jersey looks the best right now? Gradient, throwback, home, or away? I don't know. I will say I'm not real high on the Gradient jersey. Maybe just because we haven't used it enough. My next one might be that all white. I really like that all white jersey.
Yeah, Drake London in the all white would be.
That'd be
fantastic.
hard right there. As the kids say, I know I'm not one of those kids, but that look go hard. All right, I'll stop doing that. Trinity Clark Fall says, I wanted Slayer over Schaefer because he's better and more positional versatility and higher upside, i.e. center, in my opinion. Could Slayer play center? I didn't think he'd.
I don't remember him playing anything but left tackle and left guard. That's the only where when I watch the film, that's all I seen him as. And like I said before, it's because when you watch both guys, he don't possess the nastiness that Schaefer does. If you watch both of them, that's something that we covet and what we want in our offensive line. Especially playing that left guard role. They wanted somebody mean and nasty that can push guys and just knock them on their butts.
Yeah, exactly. They got what they were looking for there. Let's see. Bionic says all black is fire. So he's trying to help you out there, Charleston. Just Dowell says Slayer played center in practice at a lot because of injury. Okay, so he never did really play in the game. So let's see. Cam Wooden says Schaefer takes Mayfield's spot. Thank God. We'll see. That's the guy he's got to beat, and I think he can do it.
Yeah.
You know, especially if Mayfield, like if he lost his confidence, like completely lost it, then that's that's something that could potentially happen. You got any like targeted free agents at this, like undrafted free agents at this point? Like I think my biggest one would be Alec Lindstrom. That would be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really know. I didn't finish watching the rest of the draft to see who else got drafted and who didn't.
Here's a decent list for you from Thor Nordstrom. You got Carson Strong still out there. Kellen Disic, a offensive tackle.
Oh, I like him.
Cornerback Josh Jobe. Yeah. Linebacker JoJo Doman, the LSU kid. Okay, interior lineman Donovan West is still out.
Yep, I like him too. Woo, he's center. Nice
edge
center.
Christopher Allen. Offensive tackle Obina Ez. Yeah.
Man, those some guys.
Wide receiver Justin Ross. Wow. Yeah. Daniel Rosenthal, offensive tackle. My guy Abram Smith, running back. Vernon McKinley, safety. Jack Cohen, the quarterback. Mario Goodrich, the cornerback.
Wow, man.
Alec Lindstrom.
Is Matt Hankins on there? The cornerback, Matt Hankins.
That name. I'm gonna keep going. He's got a part 2 and a part 3. So we're just gonna keep going.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Smoke Monday, which somebody brought up. Smoke Monday. If he can get his propensity to want to take people's heads off under control, I'd take a flyer on him.
Yeah.
Offensive tackle Andrew Ruppich. Yusuf Croker, the safety. That was somebody that I think the Falcons had in on a visit. So
yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. And he may be an undrafted free agent. They
defensive lineman Haskell Garrett out of Ohio State. I wouldn't mind. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Let's see. Wide receiver Dontario Drummond.
Yep, that was a guy. I didn't know if he went on and got drafted, but he definitely a guy.
Quarterback Isaac Taylor Stewart rather. Charleston Rambo, wide receiver. Your boy Jack Sanborn is still out there. Yeah.
What?
Defensive end lineman Noah Ellis is still out there. Trey Turner still out there.
Yep, the wide receiver from Virginia Tech, and he was at the Senior Bowl.
And the only other name I recognize is maybe cornerback Josh Thompson. So there's still some names out there.
Yeah, I recognize 90% of those guys because I looked at most of them. Dang, they still
Adam Hollaby says we signed Ferris State QB Jared Bernhardt. So we're already some names are already starting to roll in.
We got us another QB.
Somebody to probably battle with Franks.
Felipe Franks.
Trying to see if anybody has if anybody's starting to see anything. No, I don't see nothing yet. Well, the only one, Tom Pellercello, he tweeted out the QB Bernhardt.
Okay. I'm checking him out after we get done with this. I definitely want to check him out. As far as
grades go, I'm seeing a lot of people who are impressed with what the Falcons were able to do in the draft. PFF gave us an A. I saw somebody else gave us an A too. So, I think all in all, I'm really pleased with how it worked out.
Yeah, most definitely.
Let's see here. Okay. Bionic says he wants another veteran wide receiver. Cam Wooden says Justin Ross would be nice. Charleston Nash says, is Charleston Rambo still out there? Yep, Charleston Rambo's still out there.
Yep.
Walter Mathis says, I hate we chose Troy over Cobe and Harris. I'm not sure who Cobe is. I'm assuming you're talking about Christian Harris. I'm not sure who Kobe is, unless you're talking about Kobe Bryant, the cornerback. But I don't know. I think Troy Anderson's going to prove a lot of people wrong. I think.
Yeah, I hope he does.
Alex Edwards says Pro Football Focus. Yeah, we just said graded an A for whatever that's worth. Yeah, draft grades. I mean, they don't mean nothing. You don't know what anybody's going to be for at least 3 to 4 years.
3 years, at least 3 to 4. Yeah, wait on
that. At the end of the day, I'm glad that we address some needs. I'm glad that we address some needs with some, what I feel like are some high quality players.
Right.
From the wide receiver all the way down to the tight end at the end. I think they made some well done and solid picks. Myself, is there any? We done went up over an hour, so is there anything else you want to add to this? I think we pretty much covered it.
No, as they say, we emptied the budget out.
Yep, there definitely won't be a live stream on Tuesday because, like I said before, me and Toby have now hit up well over 10 hours of live streaming this week. But I'm going to try to get out some kind of video for Thursday or Friday, obviously dealing with the draft or, potential free agents that we could still go after. So, also as the off season goes on, I'd be remiss to say if y'all want to join our Patreon, we do, especially now, that's where we do a lot of film breakdowns, or where we can do a lot of film breakdowns.
Yeah.
And if we get some more people in there, we'll definitely can do some more of it. So, you can get the Patreon link underneath the video. I don't advertise it much because if y'all want it, you'd find it, I guess you could say. Rookie minicamp, I think, is in probably a week or two. And I know that there's a one of camp is at the end of May. So should be, coming up with some more of that information here soon. But as always, y'all can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128, GRIMM1128. Toby?
Toby D1991.
Right. As always, Falcons fans, let's rise up.
Rise up.